old boy is right. G'day, everybody. Here for another Atheist Flashbacks with Doc Fearsome. G'day, Doc.
Hello, hello.
Say hello. So, we'll just get straight into it, or, do you want to just quickly tell everybody a bit about yourself, like where they can find you if you want to shout out your channel or your Twitter, and, what religion you used to be?
Well, I do have a YouTube channel, although I'm not a content creator, so there's really nothing on there but my like list. But I'm on there as Doc Fearsome. I'm also on Twitter as Doc Fearsome without the space, and Facebook as well. And I used to be Baptist. I grew up going to the same church. I phased out of it when I was going into high school, so about 13 or 14 years old. So it's been a long time. That's that was about 30 years ago. So.
Oh, there you go. That's a bit longer than it's been for me since I walked away from religion. That's for sure. Okie dokie. So I'm assuming most people watching now should sort of know what the game's all about. So I'm kind of not going to explain that anymore. I think I've got a few pre-recorded videos still lined up that I'll still explain it in there again, but everyone knows the game by now. Everyone knows how, this drinking game works. So we're going to take Doc back in time a little bit to his former Baptist self, and we're going to run through some questions and hopefully get drunk.
Yep. And is this where I can say what I'm drinking?
You know what? This is exactly where you can say what you're drinking. What are you drinking?
Well, so I'm trying something I ironically have never tried before. Actually didn't know about it. It's an Iowa wine, Bel Air Estates brand, but it is Rhubarb Wine.
Rhubarb Wine.
I had actually never heard of it until a couple months ago.
Have you tried it yet?
Yeah, I did try a couple tastes. It's all right. It's a little sour, but that's rhubarb.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. I'm unfortunately at the moment still getting through the last of a Coca-Cola, but then I'll have a beer shortly after once I get to it. But I can't have much, unfortunately, because it's still roughly middle of the day and I've got to go driving later. So,
oh,
being responsible.
Lordy.
Alrighty, well, we'll jump straight into it. From here on out, you've got to try to be your former Baptist self. Anytime you break character, we'll have to have a drink and call it.
I'll have this bottle empty in about 5 minutes.
Very cool. Have you got a second?
Nope, this is it.
For this. Oh, damn. Small
I'm already
sips.
a little buzzed, though.
All right, well, appropriately, the first question here is, does your religion allow you or maybe the adults to drink alcohol?
Not really. In communion, we just use like Welch's grape juice. It's generally frowned upon. But I'm only like 14 years old, so I'm not really into drinking just yet. I've tried it a couple times. Beer's gross.
Fair dues. Hello, everyone in the chat, too. I just realized I forgot to sort of say that. This is live, and it's good to see y'all. Hey, Diana, Heat Shield, Purple, Wonder Lady, and Tony. Did I miss anybody?
I know, Tony.
No, I think I got everybody. Good to see you all.
Hello, everybody.
That's a bit of a shame. So they're a bit strict on the alcohol. Like they would somebody get in trouble possibly, like by the church, if they were found just drinking in general, or if they had alcohol in the house or something, or
Well,
you're not sure?
I guess I've never really heard of anybody getting into any particular trouble.
Any possibility?
I mean, probably they would just sit them down and talk to them, and you know, try their best to uh, you know, help them change their ways. Um, like I've never heard of anybody getting like kicked out of my church.
Very cool.
They're really a good helpful group of people. They you know, we're poor as dirt, so they surely help us out a lot.
Okay. No, that's nice to hear. Actually, like they just genuinely charitable within their community. You
Very much so.
know. Okay. Well, how did you end up sort of joining or were the religion, or were you pretty young? So I'm guessing you were born into it, so to speak.
Pretty much. It's the church we were going to since I was very, very little.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, went to Sunday school here. I'm involved in my youth group, so I get to go to church Sunday morning as well as Thursday night, and it sucks because Automan is on, and I always have to miss it.
I can appreciate
My
that.
favorite.
Actually.
It's my favorite TV show.
Yeah. I remember those times as a kid, to be honest. When the last thing I wanted to do was go to a meeting because there was a show on that I wanted to see. Oh,
I don't know if you ever heard of Automan.
Otto or Auto?
Auto, kind of like a car, but he's not a car man. He's actually a computer program that dude was able to make exist in three-dimensional space, and so he's like a computer program,
Fair
and
cool.
he
I
has
can relate to that.
he has a little companion called Cursor that's able to like render objects in the real world, like cars and helicopters and stuff.
That sounds really cool. I don't think I've heard of it, but that sounds really cool.
Oh, it's an awesome show. It's my favorite.
Yeah, it is. All right. Oh, hey, Robert. Good to see you, mate. You kind of answered the question about how regularly you go to church already. So, what's your favorite part about going to church, or part of worship in general?
I didn't catch that one word. My favorite what?
Just your favorite part about it, or like something you enjoyed specifically about, going to church. Or that you got excited
I don't know.
about,
I don't very much like going to church, to be honest.
Was there anything necessarily about your religious practices that you do enjoy, like that's something that you're like, oh, we get to do this today? No, Christmas parties, even, I don't know.
Yeah, crafts. We do crafty stuff sometimes. I like doing that. In Sunday school, we did a cookbook where everybody contributed a recipe, and then we made out of like construction paper and colored yarn. We made our own little cookbooks, and
nice.
and that was neat. In my youth group recently, our teacher, I don't know what you really call him, had a very interesting lesson that I really liked, and I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. She brought in, excuse me, 2 paper bags. One was decorated up all pretty, and one was just sort of wrapped up and wrinkly. And she said, okay, you guys get to pick a bag, and you can have whatever's in it. and most of us, and me included, and I feel like a shithead about it, but naturally I picked the pretty decorated up bag, and most of us did. And what was in the pretty bag was pretty much just garbage. And what was in the wrinkly, nasty looking bag was fudge. And of course, the lesson was, about judging things, about their appearance and stuff. And of course, she was nice and let us all have the fudge anyway. But I thought that was a really good, valuable lesson. It certainly taught me something about myself that I would like very much to change. So I thought that was really neat.
That's actually pretty cool. It's a good lesson to sort of learn. Basically for all kids, really. Be able to see past the outside and, look for the person on the inside instead of just seeing on the outside.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're up for it, we'll go through a little bit of the Bible. We'll go through some Bible stories or some books of the Bible and just see, I just want to know what your idea of these stories are, like what you've learnt them as, I suppose, how you've learnt them. No. What you've learnt them as, yeah. It's like your interpretation of them. Yeah. I'm wording really good tonight. I haven't even started drinking.
Yeah. Sure. Although I don't study the Bible like I'm supposed to. So I don't know a heck of a lot about it. Mostly just what people say. I'm not a very good Christian.
What do you know though about like their creation story, for example? Would you say that they believe the Earth was created in 6,000 years? 6,000 years? I can't remember now. 4,000 or 6,000 years? I think it's 6,000 years for the young Earth creationists. Is that something you know? You're more than welcome just to say I don't know.
I actually don't know for sure. That's definitely something I'll ask somebody. They surely we surely believe that like the Bible said, it was made in 6 days.
So would they have thought it was a literal 6 days? Because I suppose that would be the way to answer that question as well. If you knew,
yeah, that's surely the impression I always got. Yeah.
Fair dues. Fair cool. Of course, that follows that Adam and Eve, the whole story of the Garden of Eden, that is a literal story, yeah, not like an allegory or something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they teach us. As far as I know, that's what we think really happened. In my school, I think it was just a few years ago, we actually can't remember which class it was, if it was history class or what, but we actually went through a bunch of different creation myths from different religions, like American Indian, ancient Roman, just like 3 or 4 of them. So I know there's a lot of different beliefs on how the Earth was created, but surely we believe the basics, made in 6 days, let there be light, that whole spiel.
Yeah. Fair call. All right. So, what about the global flood of Noah's time? Is that a literal world dominating? World dominating sounds terrible. A global flood.
Indeed, it's what we're taught. The flood supposedly happened, and the whole animals thing.
On the ark.
I think that's what I was asking my Sunday school teacher about years ago when I brought a book on dinosaurs to Sunday school. You know,
Okay.
I'm sure I asked where were the dinosaurs on the ark, and or did they make it to the ark? And I think they told me something about they didn't. They didn't make it on the ark, and they were and probably died in the flood. I'm thinking something like that. It was a long time ago. I can't
That's
remember
fair
for
enough.
sure. I
That's all
was a
right.
wee laddie.
Yeah. All right. What about, do you know, or do you recall much about the Exodus from Egypt with, like, the Pharaoh and, what's his face, Moses? How, like,
Oh,
you had
Moses.
the
I know a
10
little about
plagues, for
Moses.
example. Yeah?
Um, yeah, I don't know much about the plagues. I know they said it in a lesson. But like I said, I don't read the Bible and study it like I'm supposed to be. It's kind of boring. And I don't
That's
understand and I don't
fair
understand the
enough.
language very much.
Just
We
the
use
inherent complicated,
Yeah,
speech
we use a
patterns that
Bible
it's written in.
with the these and thous and
True.
the old time speak.
I find it difficult enough to read through in normal English, in like new English translation version of whatever. But when it's ye olde English, I'm just like, okay, now my sense of trying to understand this is now way at the door.
Yeah, it all seems really weird and like the stuff that happens in the Bible. I've never seen anything like it in my life, but who knows? Maybe I'll see it when I get older.
Yeah, well, maybe maybe when you're older in the year 2020, there'll be some sort of pestilence or something that'll begin, and you know, be like, oh, here they go again, another 10 plagues. save your firstborn.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, that's one. The firstborn. Do you know much about that story? Are they all the Israelites or the Hebrews? They were told to put like goat's blood over their doorway to show that theirs was a house of God. This is for the 10th plague, and the spirit or whatever came through the land of Egypt and killed all of the firstborn sons of Egypt, including the Pharaoh's son, just because of something the Pharaoh did, basically. Because he had a
Is that
stubborn heart
the
or
thing they
whatever.
call the Passover?
That it is.
Yeah, I remember some lessons in the youth group and uh, sermons, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
about it vaguely, but yeah, but heck yeah, the Passover, groovy.
Cool. I suppose that one's not something you've put a lot of thought into yet, like with the moral dilemma of the innocent children being, slaughtered.
Oh wow, I didn't
That'd be
ever
a
think about
genocide.
that.
Yeah, genocide, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely didn't teach us that in church.
Well, you're missing out on all the fun by the sounds of it. That they were in the adult classes, the 18 plus.
Oh yeah, I'm not quite there yet till I get into high school.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Wells.
They did.
I suppose you're not going to be familiar with the story of Job. That's a tricky one for a lot of people.
Of who?
Job. He was the man that
Job?
was so very faithful to God that Or basically, he was very well off too because of it. God, gave him all this shit, made sure he was blessed in every way. And Satan was like, the devil was like to God, said, he won't be faithful to you if you take everything away from him. He's only faithful because of all the crap you give him. And so God let Satan take everything away from him, including his family, his kids, his livestock, and his health, left him pretty much to the point of death before, because that was the one thing God's like, don't kill the guy, don't kill him. So Satan killed all of his family and everyone else and everyone he cared for, and etc. The moral of this story is that Job remained faithful. And so God was like, all right, here's a new family and more livestock, and I'll give you more friends and all that sort of jargon, and now you're just as happy as you were before. Without knowing
that what all
already,
that was about?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I remember the name Job. That's about it.
Yeah, that's that story. It's hard to follow through if you're not already too familiar with it. So I take it that's not one you're too familiar with.
I guess not very. Like I said, I'm bad at reading the Bible. I'm not a very good
That's
Christian.
All right. Well, I suppose there's a strange expectation in some religions for children that they'll have like Bible story books and stuff like that as they're growing, and that'll be your story, your bedtime reading or whatever it might be, So even though, like, I didn't read the Bible when I was a kid, like I was a kid. Who's going to read the Bible? Like, I'll just get I'll get the short version, the one that's written for me. The kids' version tells me all I need to know. Doesn't actually tell you all you need to know, unfortunately. But that's a whole different topic. So I'm pretty much out of drink. Which means I need to go and get a beer. So I'm going to ask, okay, what about the Jeebus character in the Gospels? I'm sure you have a bit of an idea with the Jesus story, yeah?
I heard of the guy.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, they talk about him a lot.
So, I take it his story of the resurrection and the healings and stuff that he did, these are all like a real man, and like all the miracles were definitely miracles, so to speak, because a lot of people will proclaim them just to be magic or something like that, or illusions, But do you actually believe that was a real man and lived a life as spoken in the Bible? So.
Yep. Yeah. That's definitely what they teach us.
Cross. He died
Yeah.
for 3
So yeah.
days.
Sorry.
He died for 3 days. he was dead for 3 days. Man.
Yep. The resurrection.
Die. That would suck. Okay. And what was my question with this one? The apostles. Yeah. So are they contemporaries that lived alongside Jesus?
I always thought so. They were the dudes he hung out with and everything.
They literally walked around and stuff with him, basically.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last part.
So they literally were walking side by side with him, parallel, doing the, when they're doing their apostle stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're taught.
Yep. All right. I know I had another question here with the Jesus thing, but I can't remember it. So this will be another one you're probably not going to do so well on because it's pretty tricky. How about the Book of Revelations? Do you know much about the Revelations? Like, so did you guys believe in the rapture, for example?
Not sure. What I'm told is like when we get to heaven, whatever form we were in, we get regenerated. I mean, we'll be like fully restored, even if you're cremated. But I think at least some people in my church believe you're also transformed. Although maybe I'm getting it confused with the TV show. You ever watch Highway to Heaven with Michael Landon?
No, I don't think I have.
Because the idea of that is Michael Landon is a dude who died and went to heaven, but he came back to do certain things for God, and he looks completely different from what he did in real life, because when you get to heaven, you're just physically transformed.
Fair enough. Well, you'd be
Not
spiritual
sure
form,
what
I
all
suppose,
that is
wouldn't you?
about, but
Yeah. So you wouldn't necessarily take on your physical appearance. I can get that.
yeah. But I'm
Cool.
not sure about the whole okay, quick character break. I had not heard the word rapture at this point.
Oh, well,
So
there you go.
I'll take the drink on that one.
Very cool. All right. Well, tell you what. Say hello to everyone in the. Oh, you can't have the chat open at the same time. That's right. Well, give me a quick sec. I'm just gonna grab me a drink. That's all. Won't be
Sure,
long.
sure. And I wanted to say hello to Booleanator out there and everybody else. Rhubarb wine. Hell of a thing.
It would probably help if I unmute myself. Hello. Oh well, didn't miss much. So I'm just wondering if you'd think you'd have any particular favorite book of the Bible, something that you remember, or even just story in the that you learnt from the Bible that you were a fan of.
Favorite story? I don't know. I'd have to say my favorite verse in the Bible is Jesus wept, just because it's short. It's the one I can remember.
It's easy to remember, yeah. Cool.
Well, then, and of course, the other one, the most common verse is of course, what is it? John 3:16. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son.
Yeah.
So that those are about the only two verses I could ever quote. I don't know. I guess I don't have a favorite story per se, but I guess I do feel grateful that Jesus suffered and died for us. I'm not really sure what that means, but I guess we get to go to heaven because of it. So thank you, Jesus.
Very cool. Yeah. He's a pretty cool dude when you put it like that. All right.
Only one thing I don't understand is why can Jesus have long hair, but other boys can't?
Yeah,
Weird.
I know, right? That one bothers me too, actually. Yes, Diana, he did. Hey, native. All right. Well, where are we?
I
I keep
did,
losing
Diana.
this. Oh, what about that? A least favorite? Do you have a particular least favorite one? Sort of same general question, but just least favorite.
uh, uh, I don't know if it would be my least favorite if I studied the Bible like I'm supposed to, but the Revelation stuff is kind of scary, and I don't want
Fair
the
call.
world to end.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a pretty shitty set of stories.
I do check myself from time to time for the 666. No, but don't have it yet.
Doing one of those looking over your shoulder behind you into a mirror so you can see on your back, make sure it's not hidden, behind the arch of your back. Nope, all good.
just like Damien in the Omen 2. Yeah, I do that.
All right. Well, what would you think God considers good, or something in the respects of how you would be expected to behave to get into heaven? Like, what do you have to do?
You follow the 10 Commandments, and it seems like you probably do all right. You're not really supposed to swear. You're not supposed to be mean to people. Not supposed to be greedy. Which is probably the biggest lesson I've learned from the people in my church, because I mean, they're really good people, and really treat you well. I'm not normally treated so well, like school and at home, from a lot of my family members. It really sucks most of the time.
Yeah.
Um,
Are they also? They're all going to the church too, though, aren't like they're all religious as well?
so some of them go to my church, and some of them go to the other churches. Okay. But they're I don't know. Kids mostly ignore me at church, but the adults are usually really good, and I feel safe around them. So
fair call. I mean, that's fair enough. Flipping that question over on its head, what would get you sent to hell? Like, what is one of the worst sins or an unforgivable sin?
well, the unforgivable sin, of course, is you got to believe in Jesus and God, and it really seems like um, you can pretty much be forgiven for most anything else. We don't have that confession stuff like I've seen on TV.
I think it's Catholics.
But yeah, what is it? The Catholics that do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a Catholic church in town, but we certainly don't go there. It's kind of funny when you hear my mom talk about Catholics. She's like, "Oh, all that man-made ballyhoo and falderall." I don't know where she gets these words, but it's funny. She apparently doesn't think the rituals they do are really have any merit.
Yeah. A lot of different independent Christian sects that hold that sort of belief with Catholics. They're not the hokey sort of a religion.
Yeah, yeah. She sees a lot of their practices as just just a bunch of made up waste of time, I guess.
Yeah, it's not actually inspired by God, despite their claims.
Yeah, my mom is quite skeptical. We've talked about astrology and stuff, and neither of us really know much about it. Just one thing that's fun is every once in a while my mom likes to read my horoscope from the newspaper, but she says, this stuff is so vague, it can really be interpreted as most anything.
Pretty much.
But I'm a Libra, so a lot of the stuff does sure sound kind of spot on for me. It does kind of describe me very well. So
you're
I'm all about balance and justice and fairness.
Yeah. So you're into the horoscopes, though. Like, do you actually check your own, or is it just when you're read them?
Well, I don't believe astrology is real per se, but I mean, just the description I read, and as Ma reads it, and it just does describe me well. So I don't, like I said, I'm sure we're just interpreting it,
Yeah, I was gonna
but
ask
I like justice. I like fairness. So I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I was curious to know, actually, though, if you've read the horoscopes for the other signs.
Of the other types.
Yeah. Like, did you read yours and you're like, that one sounds like me. Did you read the others as well, just to see?
Yeah, Ma reads hers, and she'll read some of the others, and yeah, they mostly don't apply to me. Libra is like really good, so.
Fair enough. It's always good to check. That's good, good to go through them.
And she'll even go through and read some of the others, my brothers and sisters, and my sister's husband, and all that stuff. So.
Fair enough. At least, yeah. It's just interesting. Sometimes you can go through a lot of them, and they all seem to be as easily applied to any person.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah, like I said, the other ones don't really seem to apply to me, but once again, it's an interpretation, so I'm sure I'm just kind of focusing on mine. So.
Probably right. All right. So we'll move on a little bit. This is one of my favorite questions. Question 42. What's the meaning of life?
I'm trying to figure that out myself.
Just sort of dawned on me. I am asking a so-called 14 or something year old the meaning of life. Like,
Yeah. Excuse me.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
Yeah. I really am trying to figure out. I definitely need to read the Bible more, but I'm trying to figure out why God made us.
Just at all.
Yeah. I guess I just don't know.
That's fair enough. I mean, even if you answered that like now is who you are, that'd still be fair enough.
Yeah, true. Well, and I wonder too, it's like why is there suffering? Why do we have to be so damn poor, and why do people have to be such jerks to me? What part of God's plan is that? I just don't understand.
So you'd say that God does have a plan for us?
Well, it seems. I mean, they don't teach me this in church, but God created everything, so God had to create the devil too. And created evil and bad things. If God created everything, He created all the bad things along with the good things.
That's true.
I don't understand why.
Does that leave you to doubting?
I don't know. Not really. It makes me wonder what God is. And that's been kind of a dangerous question sometimes. I vaguely recall a couple people saying, well, God always is, and God is good, and God has mysterious ways that we just can't possibly understand. So we're supposed to trust that He has a purpose, and He loves us, and and what we're going through is has a good reason. Maybe when we all die and go to heaven, we'll finally understand what the whole thing was about.
You'd hope so, hey. So you'd say, has there been anything that you wanted to do, just in general in life, or sure, not just something when I'm older sort of thing, but something that other people can do, but that you're not supposed to do according to your religion? Whether it be partaking in certain things or events, alcohol, for example. It's one we touched on before.
Well, I know plenty of people drink and smoke. My mom really doesn't like it when my sister smokes. My sister gets in big trouble when Ma catches her smoking.
I'll bet.
But a lot of people do. I guess it's something you can choose to do when you're an adult. I know that's really not the sort of thing you're asking, but I'm leading to that, I guess, trying to. There's no, I can't think of any career that would be opposed by my church other than porn star or stripper. We do have a video store in town that rents out videos, and they used to rent out porno movies, but my pastor actually convinced them to stop doing that, so they don't rent out the pornos anymore. Still rated R movies, and that's cool. But yeah, he actually convinced them to stop distributing porn. So I guess I'm not supposed to become a porn star.
Yeah. Oh well.
Which is unfortunate, because I had my name picked out already. Buck Naked.
Very cool.
Okay,
shit.
that actually is a character break because I stole that from Seinfeld, and Seinfeld wasn't on TV yet, so we're drinking.
Oh, okay. That's pretty much in there. Gotta say, Robert, you're cracking me up over here with your friggin' like what the world is like a video game. No fun without some enemies talking about why he created the evil and all that, and an end boss being Satan, and he wants a free get out of heaven card. I do like that. G'day, Spooky.
Hello, Spooky. Spookums.
So, what, I've sort of lost myself. Have you ever, it might not be appropriate because you're still pretty young, but do you guys sort of try and convert people or like, talk to other people about your religion?
Oh yeah, we sure do. We're encouraged to spread the word, and in fact, I was just talking to a friend of mine at school just a little while ago. I've been talking to him about this stuff, and it's a kid in my class. He's really into the heavy metal music, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, all of that stuff. And I actually convinced him to get rid of. He had a pretty extensive collection of heavy metal music he brought to school to listen to on his Walkman, and I actually convinced him to get rid of it because it's I mean that's one of the things the devil uses to get into your heart and corrupt you. That heavy metal music is bad news.
That's, so that's close enough, I suppose, to a, conversion, so to speak, because it's like, it's a passive way of, talking to people about your beliefs and helping them see it the way you see it. Are they usually religious? Like, was, in and out, like, already, or are these just, whoever, like, randoms, so to speak?
Well, this one dude is the only one that seems to have listened to me. A couple years ago, I heard a couple girls at school talking about using a Ouija board, and I tried to warn them that they better not be messing with that stuff. That's playing with demons and the devil, and that's just that's just asking to get possessed.
Yeah.
And they kind of laughed at me. There are some people around here that don't like what do they call us? Bible thumpers.
Yeah, I think a lot of them call it Bible bashers here.
Yeah, and yeah, there's some people that don't really like being preached to, probably just by people that don't go to their church. Really, that's what I think.
Cool.
But I mean, sometimes people mess around with stuff that's really bad for them, and they just don't know what they're in for. I try to help.
I mean, it's only right to at least just warn them. So, fair enough. Yeah.
And I'm totally taking a character break drink here because that was one of the cringiest regrets of my life, was convincing that kid to give up some sweet heavy metal music, man.
Yeah, fair dues. There's one on
punishing my liver
list.
For that one.
Yeah. For the poor homie, hopefully, who's now like heavy metal head and like rocking on.
I hope he's a famous heavy metal rocker these days, and I just don't recognize him.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I mean that'd be right. That'd be good. So okay, what if in general, what are your views on atheists?
I don't know what an atheist is.
Somebody who does not believe in God, at least.
Okay, I don't encounter many people that say they don't believe in God. I don't know. It seems silly to me because, like, how'd everything get here if there's no God? That's about all I know about that.
That's fair enough. So you just don't have much exposure to any that you know of.
Yeah, it seems like everybody goes to one of the churches in town. So,
see, what are your general views on science? Like, are you a fan of, science in school and stuff like that?
I love science. I'm really into like comic books and and Spider-Man and stuff. Um,
Not quite the science I was thinking of, for sure.
and I like my science fiction stuff. I like my Star Trek and stuff like that. Yeah, I think science is really cool.
So what?
It is kind of weird. We did have a sex ed class in my youth group. One of the members of our church, or actually two or three of them, is a doctor. So we had this kid that's in my youth group. His dad is a doctor, and he taught us a sex ed class. So the people that go to my church certainly don't turn their heads against science.
Okay.
And there's some construction workers and others, and like I said, doctors that go to my church. Certainly there's science, people that deal with science. So we don't turn our heads at science. There's much to be learned about how the physical world works. God made the world a certain way, and it works in certain ways.
What about those?
I think science is just another part of God's creation.
Okay. So what about those who propose things such as evolution? Does that conflict with your religious beliefs at all?
I don't know much about evolution. I think I've heard of it. It's kind of how all the animals changed and stuff over time, right?
Pretty much. In a nutshell, yeah.
And I think we're animals too. Okay. I think we're a kind of animal. We're special kind of animals. Because God made us first. But I do wonder if animals have a soul, though. I don't know. But I do wonder about that.
But you do believe in the concept of a soul.
Do doggies go to heaven? Do birds go to heaven? Do mosquitoes go to heaven? Are there mosquitoes in heaven? Damn.
I hope not. Well, maybe they're just friendly, and they don't buzz.
Maybe the mosquitoes in heaven give you blood.
Why would you need blood in heaven?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm silly.
That's all right, mate. And g'day, family. I don't think I've seen that account before. So,
hi, Beth.
Hello. Great to see you.
Thanks for the drink.
All right. Science. What else is science related? Bugger that one. Let's move on. So, would you reckon God is omniscient, which is knowing all things future?
Yeah,
past?
God. Yeah, most definitely. God knows and sees everything.
And so this is sort of going into the dilemma that you explained before, where he has this plan. Why did he create all the bad things? So
Indeed, yes.
you basically take with that you took all of my questions here and just went, "Yep, don't need them anymore." Threw them
I'm
out
sorry.
the door. It's all good. It's all good. It's just like I'm like, okay, so I'm leading into this question. I'm realizing, oh no, we've already done that just by chance. So I'll go. I'll move on again. Okay. Do you have any political opinions that have been influenced by your religion, or that stances that the religious that your religion takes that you hold to?
Nope. I've never heard any mention of like politicians or. I mean, there you are supposed to obey the law of the land. That's about the closest I think my church comes to that. Whatever the law is, you're supposed to obey it. So that's pretty much as far as that goes. I really don't know much about politics. I don't really pay much attention.
Fair enough. So,
Ronald Reagan became president when I was in kindergarten. That I remember. And I
do you
don't
know
know.
if
I guess my family is Republican. I guess I don't know.
okay.
I don't know why there has to be an either or. Why
Do
I
you know
don't
what
understand
they
the whole two-party system, I guess.
do you know what the general thoughts on the LGBTQ and marriage, gay marriage, for example? Are they pro or anti?
Gays.
Yeah.
Well, homosexuality is a sin. Uh, we have we have a Bible camp we go to in the summer, and there is this one kid once. I was pretty sure he was gay. He was acting all friendly to me and stuff, and he put his hand on my back, and I think he was making a pass. So I kind of pushed him away, and uh, I pretty much yelled out to everyone that he was gay, and I don't know, that made me feel very uncomfortable. So, and I'm gonna take a character break, cringe drink right now because that's another big regret I have.
I can only imagine, man.
Need to get hit for that one. I feel really bad about that. If I may continue the character break for a moment,
Of course.
for a retrospective, I feel terrible about that. I don't think that kid was gay at all. He was being very friendly to me, very nice, and I think
He's probably
the
one of the mate.
whole he was just being a friend. The whole hand on the back thing was just a gesture of friendship, and I was a complete asshole about it for no reason, and I feel fucking awful. So yeah, there was
Things
that.
do happen. We learn from them. That's what's important.
It was shortly after. It was very shortly after this time when I got like into high school and stuff that I did a complete 180, and I was fully accepting of homosexuals, and just beginning to learn about transvestites and transsexual and transgender people. But at the time I'm role playing, I had practically no experience whatsoever with transgendered people. So not really much knowledge there at all.
Yeah. And I
And
mean,
damn, am I getting a buzz? It's been like 2 years since I even drank. So
damn, take it slow.
yeah.
We're almost done anyway, so, you know.
Cool.
Ready to jump back in?
Yep, I'm ready to resume.
All right. So, what, if you do know it or recall, what are the beliefs you have on abortion and women's rights, for example?
Well, I mean, women, like, I guess, seem to have their sort of place. I don't know. It seems like a lot of them don't exactly like the place they're put in, you know. So I'm beginning to wonder, because I know for a fact that they're really just at their core just people. Everybody's kind of basically the same. I mean, we all have this sort of I don't know the word for it. I don't know, just this the way we see the world, I guess. Quick little character break. The word I didn't know at the time was perspective. But I mean, I think I think there's not a lot of difference between men and women, really. But I'm told they have their place and men have theirs, and I don't know. It's kind of confusing at this point.
With, I don't know if I might have missed it, but with abortion?
I think my church doesn't like abortion very much at all. You're really supposed to not mess around in the first place.
Of course.
What do they call that? Abstinence. Yeah.
Abstinence, yeah.
It's so much better if you don't. You can avoid the whole thing by just not messing around and and just wait till you're ready to have a kid before you have sex.
And you mentioned the sex ed that you were provided by the kid, or was it doctor's kid or whatever? Was that an abstinence sex ed class or an actual sex ed class?
They definitely said abstinence is the best way to prevent STDs and pregnancy and things like that.
I mean,
but at the same time, I guess they felt we were old enough in middle school to learn about it. I had already had sex ed in regular school, a couple of years before that, but they definitely tell us teenagers to keep it in our pants and wait until you're ready to have a family. But I guess
work?
they feel we're mature enough to know about anatomy and things, so that we have a better understanding of the process and why we should wait.
Did that thinking work, or did it? I mean, Is abstinence the way for you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not ever going to have sex till I get married.
Very cool. This is going to be a bit of...
Okay, that was a character break.
It was a little bit of one, yeah. A bit of a sideball here. Was there any push for or against the death penalty through your religion, or just in general?
No, I don't recall anybody really talking about the death penalty.
Okay.
I personally don't. I think I don't really agree with it. I don't like the idea of killing people at all.
So murder is wrong, obviously. Then
I think so. And I don't know for sure, but I think most people in my church would probably agree.
Okay, well, that's good. So there's obviously then an exception when it's God doing the murdering.
Well, and God doesn't murder, of course, ever. If it's all part of the plan. So every death under His will, and every death is under His will. So it's all part of the plan. So
He has a get out of hell free
God
card.
can't commit murder.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. All right. Well, Doc, you can come back to 2020 and be your damn darn usual self.
Oh boy, that was some crazy
that?
stuff.
How do you feel after that? Like, was it
Oh, I feel pretty buzzed. I'm not even halfway through a bottle of wine.
Oh, damn. Oh, that's pretty good. It's half a bottle left to drink.
And like I said when a character broke before, I probably should have waited till this part, but yeah. I just really regretted those things I did.
What other were there any other particular regrets? Like
that kid I convinced to give up his heavy metal music. When I went into high school, I grew out my hair real long and became the biggest freaking metalhead you ever did see. Yeah. I wore Metallica t-shirts and shit, in high school, I even had the high school guidance counselor talk to me one time about wearing all the black colors. And she was really worried that I was depressed because I was wearing black.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I really changed over the summer, middle school and high school.
I know that you mentioned it was about 30 years ago that you'd lost your religion, wasn't it? Ish.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, over the summer between middle school and high school, I pretty much phased out of it and stopped going to church. I would say through high school, I didn't. I didn't know the term at the time, but looking back, I would say I was probably agnostic through high school. I was questing. I didn't know for sure if I believed in God. At points, I thought God existed, and it was more about what is the nature of God, and I wasn't supposed to ask what is God, because God is beyond our understanding.
And then use the KISS model. Keep it simple, stupid.
What's that?
religions like to use the KISS model. Keep it simple.
Oh
stupid.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Very much so. Yeah, I know I asked people a few times exactly what God is, and what's the nature of God, and a couple I can vaguely recall a couple of times being told, it's just something beyond our possible understanding. Just trust that God has a plan for you, and and everything that happens is according to God's plan.
Getting back to all of the things we've been talking about tonight, what are some of or any of the beliefs that have changed since then? Or like your views, political views, or what have you?
My personal beliefs,
or even in a sense of things that, like, the being anti-gay marriage then, for example, and not being now, or all those things we touched on.
Right. And yeah, like I said, by the time I transitioned into high school, I did a complete 180 and was fully accepting of homosexuality. God, I feel terrible about that kid at camp. I know now that he was just being a friend. I'm pretty sure he wasn't homosexual at all, and even if he was, I let a good friend go, a person that actually liked me. Yeah, he was from another town. He wasn't one of the shitters I went to school with. He knew nothing about the social dynamic that I was living under. He would have been a great friend. It sucks. I feel real bad about it. I'm kind of starting to tear up a little bit here. Yeah, I was a complete shithead, and I actually don't feel that was so much religious as societal. It was just the masculine indoctrination, I call it, was really thick when and where I grew up, and around that time I was getting out of religion and getting into high school. I was really beginning to fight the masculine indoctrination. I was like, there is this me here, and everybody seems to be constantly trying to tear it down and tell me to be something I'm not. Ultimately around throughout high school, and I didn't know the language to apply to it, but by college I was getting into individuality. Like I had a philosophy course, and we talked about we got to this part about individualism as a philosophical school of thought or whatever. And and when I started learning about that, I was like, yes, that's it. That was my thing. Like, that was my thing in high school, even if I didn't realize what I was doing. Like, I was practicing individualist philosophy before I'd ever heard of it. And since high school, I've just been all about recognizing each individual for who they are. As long as we're not hurting anybody, And as long as we're, working to improve things in the world, and that's generally what all work is: providing food for people, health for people, housing for people. Um, uh, there's plenty of room for everybody to be the true person they are. Stuff can be cringy and embarrassing, but that's just based on the cultural norms that you live in. Yeah, and that stuff, it's all really made up these days. I have very little. I mean, I want to respect people's cultures, and, and things like that. But when you got stuff like, like female genital mutilation, which I never heard of until like college or after college. I think it was even after college I started hearing about that. And that's some crazy shit. Some atrocious things are protected under the auspices of culture every bit as much as they are religion. Mm-hmm. And while I want to respect people's beliefs and culture, I cannot respect atrocity, and especially justified atrocity of any kind. So I don't think religion or culture is a good thing at all anymore. I think it's the humans things. I think these things are what humans need to outgrow and improve beyond.
That's a pretty deep thought too. Like we do that, I was going to say universally, but like globally. That would be interesting. That'd definitely be interesting.
Like I do dream.
We couldn't like leave countries in this, a despot position where they can't, get anywhere, because then it would just turn to shit.
Yeah. I do dream of a global culture eventually. Things will be normal all over the place. I kind of think in the general sense, we sort of can't escape, the general aspect of culture, but we can bloody well stop justifying atrocities under the auspices of culture and religion. I think we can do that. And we have the technology these days for communication and travel all over the globe. I don't see an excuse anymore that we should be separated by culture or anything really. I really believe in these days.
Celebrate culture in, like you think of the different cool parties like you get around the world, or different, just things, food, all that good stuff sort of that you can celebrate.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean like every part of the culture, Like,
right.
There's always going to be some ancient things that we did as, idiot humans that we can be like, you know what? We don't need to do that anymore. We're smarter than that. We're better than that. We'll take everything else, though. Like, we'll enjoy the hell out of it.
Right, and I'm not necessarily talking about the complete disillusion of all that stuff, but at the same time, in a global culture, you will no longer have. Well, I mean, we'll have all the cuisine, we'll have all the fashions. It's just that Chinese food will just be called food. Mexican food will just be called food. It'll all be normal.
Yeah.
All across the globe.
It's definitely a possibility. I just want to bring it back because I got one more question, and then I'm gonna end her up, and we'll wrap her up.
Okie
like
doke.
Everyone should before going inside. Never mind. So if you could go back and tell yourself, your old self, something to help you get out quicker, what would you tell yourself?
Oh boy. Listen to your inner voice. Thinking back vaguely, the younger I was, the less seriously I took religion. I think I was skeptical at a very young age, 5, 6, 7 years old. And I didn't know what skepticism was. Nobody taught me skepticism at that age.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't have known the word until probably late middle school, early high school age. Probably around the age I role played was when I started learning the word skepticism, and even at that point I didn't really know what it was.
Yeah.
So I think I had doubts the whole time. So I would say to myself back then, just listen to that inner voice. Just listen to that voice saying, really, that's how it works? Because I think the whole time my brain was telling me, these people are spinning these stories, but it doesn't match the reality you live in.
Yeah.
And of course, with indoctrination and social pressure, you learn to trick your own mind into suppressing that inner voice, that doubt, that inner realizer that's saying, hey, this is what's real. What they're saying doesn't match what you're experiencing.
Yeah. I kind of lost myself in that, I think actually. Just that was really good. Alrighty, man. Yeah, no, I did. I completely. Yeah, okay. Get my head back into it. We can call it at that. I reckon that was the end of the show. So I want to thank you for joining me, Doc. Do you want to give everyone
thank you so much for having me.
Tell people again where to find you, and where you want people following you or doing all those things.
Like I said, I'm not really a content creator. So I guess check me out if you want. Like I said, I do technically have a YouTube channel. All that's on there is my likes list. It's like probably 2,000 videos big or whatever.
Be a hell of a playlist to go through.
Yeah. Like 2 years of likes.
Liked videos.
I mean, I'm on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And
what's your at on Twitter?
On Twitter, it's just at Doc Fearsome with no space in the middle.
There you go. Very nice. Alrighty. Well, cool. Everybody knows who I am because you're here watching. So if you're new, please subscribe. Make sure you like the video. Go check out Doc and subscribe to. Oh well, you can subscribe to Doc. Check out his likes list, but then also make sure to check him out on Twitter as well. And thank you all for coming. Hello, Doorknob. I did see you. Should have said hello earlier, but I was into it. But I saw you there. Love ya. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great night, day, morning, whatever it might be for you. And stay safe.